used to sit in my car in the driveway after work and just sit there, engine off, staring at nothing, because I knew the second I walked inside, I was going to see bills on the counter, the credit card statements, the mortgage payment I was about to not make for the first time ever that month. And here's the thing that made it even worse. I was not some kid fresh out of college. I had a degree in finance and a minor in economics and an MBA, and I've been working in real estate and finance for years, and I literally studied money for a living, and yes, I was almost broke. If that sounds familiar to you, if you know what it feels like to earn good money and still feel like you're barely keeping up, barely keeping your head above water, then this video might be the most important one on this channel, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I went from that car in that driveway to being financially independent. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the specific decisions that changed everything. So let me give you some quick background so you know who you're listening to. My name is Brian Lessinger, and I have an MBA, a degree in finance with a minor in economics, and I spent 25 plus years working professionally in finance and real estate. And I've seen the inside of this industry from every angle. Corporate finance, personal investing, real estate deals, retirement planning. I have done it all. But none of that saved me from making the same mistakes I now see over and over that people are making every single day. Because here's what they do not teach you in business school. They teach you how money works in theory. They do not teach you how money is actually built and how to actually build wealth when you have a family, a mortgage, car payments, and a life that's coming at you from every direction. The gap between theory and reality almost cost me everything, and closing that gap is exactly what this channel is all about. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 decisions that took me from nearly broke to financially independent. And this is not theory. This is not stuff I read in a book. These are the actual moves I made with real numbers that changed the trajectory of my entire financial life. And every single one of them is something you could start doing this month. So decision number 1 was we stop living to our income. So what does that mean? Getting ahead financially is all about consistent income and using it wisely. And your income is your number 1 wealth building tool. And whether you think you make a lot of money or not that much, you can still set yourself up to be financially free. And let me tell you what happened to us. It was June of 2009, and for me and my family, it was a good 3 years into the Great Recession and 4 years into owning the real estate company we had just started. And we were struggling on a big time level. So from Thanksgiving 2008, until June 21st, 2009, my team and I had just made $6,387.50 in gross commissions over that entire 7-month time period. And for a little perspective, the 5 years before that, we only did less than $10,000 in revenue in a month 3 times. And if we did, it usually meant that the month before or the month after was really big and the deals just fell funny on the calendar. So it just shows you we had a horrendous 7-month stretch. It's crazy how things can change so quickly. The only reason we survived is because we had what we thought was a ton of emergency funds. Eventually, we turned to equity in our home, a business line of credit, tapping into every credit card we had just to keep afloat. And for the first time in my life, starting July 2009, I was about to not make my house payment. My dad even gave me 3 checks for the next 3 months for July, August, and September in the amount of my house payment, and I never used them and I never deposited them because I told him at that point in my life I was a grown-ass man and I should not be in this situation in the first place. So from 2004 to 2008, we averaged about 35 to 40 home sales a year. We used to generate about $300,000 in gross revenues. And I was able to match that and do that just in the second half of 2009. And that's where the road to financial recovery started to begin. And that's where I worked every single day for the second half of 2009 to make those numbers happen because we were in a mess and we had to get our shit going in the right direction. So what does stop living to your income actually mean? Once your income is recovered, which ours finally had done because I wasn't one of those people who got paid every 2 weeks, we had to face the reality of where our situation was. The lifestyle we were used to was about to go away. And this is the trap that gets almost everybody in trouble, okay? Especially high earners where you start to make more. So what do? You spend more. Your salary goes up, so you go out and get a car payment. Maybe you buy a bigger house. Your eating out budget goes up. Your subscriptions start to happen more. And this is where people start to have a problem. So before you know it, you may be making $150,000 a year and you're still living month to month. And this is, like I said, where people get themselves in trouble. For us, it was 2 things at once. The business expanded too aggressively, our real estate company, and then we leased a huge office space. And then when the income collapsed, and not just ours, but the agents in our office all at the same time, we extended ourselves personally way too far. We bought maybe more house than we also needed as well. And because of all that, I thought, this is kind of what you do, right? You start to make more. And we did all the things that I'm hoping you won't do. And so for us, I didn't feel like we were living that crazy, but we weren't paying as close as attention as maybe we thought we needed to because we just assumed we'd be able to keep making this kind of money going forward. And the fix of all of this was not sexy at all, right? We started paying attention to every single dollar that was coming in, every single dollar that was going out. And of course, we put everything on hold. No more vacations, no more eating out, no more what I call non-essentials until we could get this debt paid off. Now, I'm a huge spreadsheet nerd. And so what did I do? We listed every single debt we had, every single balance, every single interest rate, all the minimum payments, and we started examining everything that we had. And these decisions that we started to make and the decisions to start fixing our problems literally started saving us thousands of dollars per month. And that is where the path to my real financial freedom started to begin. All right, so the second decision was this. We built a system, not a budget, okay? Budgets do not work for most people because they rely on willpower, tracking every dollar, and that is exhausting. For someone like myself, who is a spreadsheet nerd, might work for me, but doesn't work for most people. And instead of that, what I did for myself is we built what I call a money system. We created separate accounts for fixed expenses, for our investments, for our short-term saving, for our discretionary spending. And every time we got paid, the money was automatically split the day it hit. It went into the account, and all these things just started happening automatically behind the scenes, okay? And the automation of all of that is the key. So if you have to manually go in and every month or every time you get paid, do all this stuff, you're going to stop. You might do it for a month or two or three, but it is not going to happen in the long term. And I made a system to do the work for me so that I wouldn't sabotage myself and I could focus on just going out and selling homes and trying to create as many revenues as I could. So within 6 months, we had more saved than we had the previous 2 years combined, and we were knocking out those debts one at a time, because the money had a job before we could even spend it, and it knew what it was supposed to be doing, so all we had to focus on was earning it and sticking to our system, okay? The third decision, we built and bought our office building. This was a huge one, and this accelerated everything. And just as things started getting better and we didn't have all our debts paid off, we took money that we had saved and we bought and we built an office building from scratch. It's an 8,000 square foot office building that we still own to this day. And 14 years later, we own that thing free and clear. But at the time, I was terrified. I needed $170,000 cash to put into the property for the down payment. And recently we had been very unsuccessful. Our company was very unsuccessful. We had leased some other office space that was in a much bigger space. It was actually way more than what our actual payment for the new building was going to be. But it felt completely different from reading a textbook when I actually had to dig in my pocket and actually do all of this. But this is where my finance background helped me immensely because I could run the numbers. I knew what the cash-on-cash return for the property was. I knew what the cap rates were. I knew what the debt service coverage ratios were so that as this property was something that we did, we realized how smart of a move we were making. In that first property, we became our own tenants, and it cash flowed from month one. The payment in that building that we bought, which everyone thought we were crazy on, was literally about 45% of what our rent payment was on the other building. And it was amazing once we kind of got in it for 6 to 12 months and realized, oh, this is going to be a really good move. It taught me something very powerful. Your income is not just what your employer pays you or the revenues you can create if you're an entrepreneur. It is the income that you can build. And what was happening is we were having one company renting from our other company, and the real estate company, all those revenues were being generated by all the agents in our office. And because of that, we paid off this building in 14 years, not with money that I had to use out of my own pocket, but from money a business generated, right? So that rent check came in every month. It got transferred over. And again, 14 years later, we own that building free and clear. And it was probably one of the smartest, best things we did on our path to financial recovery, okay? Decision 4. We started investing consistently and not cleverly. And this is one of those boring ones. We stopped trying to be clever, with the stock market. I wasn't worried about trying to find the hot pick. What was the stock that was going to be the one that we needed? No trying to time the market, the ups, the downs. No trying to chase the dips. This is where we set up monthly automatic investments into broad-based index funds every single month. And we did not touch them for years. It just kept going in, kept going in, kept going in. And this is what 25 years of finance has taught me is this. The people who are building real wealth are not the ones making the smartest trades or trying to find that hot tip. They're the ones that just make consistent, boring decisions month after month, not panicking when the market goes up or down, not trying to figure out how am I going to get rich super quickly. And because of that, what we were able to do is when we watched our portfolio drop 40% in 2008, We didn't sell. We just kept putting money in there. I always say you're buying on sale now. And just doing that now over 20 and 30 years, that one decision alone likely added at minimum 6 figures to my net worth over the last 2 decades. And being consistent over time beats cleverness always. So just know that it's something you absolutely have to be doing. And the last decision number 5 was this. I turned around and tried to start teaching what I know to other people. And that is the decision you're watching right now, okay? After 25 years of building up the knowledge, making the mistakes, living through it personally, we were able to start figuring out what actually works. And what I realized is this. The most valuable thing I could do was share that information, not just with you, but with my kids, with their friends, with other people that have been struggling in money and finance. And this information that changed my life is not that complicated, and it is not a secret. It's just not being taught to people in schools. It's not being taught to people ever. And it's something that people need more than ever. So when I was sitting down in that driveway, nobody handed me these 5 clear steps. I had to learn them the hard way. Obviously, I learned some of this from my background going to school, but this is the thing. This channel exists so you do not have to take the 25 years to learn what I learned. And that's, to me, what this whole Complete Money Playbook program is all about. This is not about theory. This is not about hype. This is about real strategies from someone who's been there, been in the trenches. I've seen the good. I've seen the bad. I've seen the ugly. And just know, if you're in a good place, great for you. You can always be better. And if you're someone who's been really struggling, just know we can help you with that as well. So if any of this resonated with you, I want you to do 2 things right now. First of all, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to break down each of these 5 decisions in individual dedicated videos: the money system, buying your first rental properties, investing without overthinking it, with real numbers, with real experiences, no fluff. And second of all, drop a comment and tell me what decision you want me to go deeper on first. I read all the comments. I use them to help decide what we want to try to film next. And if you want to start right now, watch this video we did right here, breaking down the math on renting versus buying in 2026. It is one of the most watched videos on this channel for a reason, and I'll see you over there.